Hi, how are you doing? This is AWS By Doing. I'm Madhu Vasudevan from the AWS By Doing team. Welcome to this educational video series AWS By Doing, wherein you can learn AWS Cloud Computing by following along with an AWS Certified Solutions Architect. We acknowledge and thank the official AWS documentation material which we have used to produce this educational video. Although we will try to keep all resources consumed eligible for the free tier, ensuring that you are not charged or minimizing your charges is your responsibility. To minimize charges, remember to delete all created chargeable resources after each session. This time, we will walk you through a hands-on lab on create an S3 bucket, upload an object to the bucket, download the object from the bucket, delete the object and the S3 bucket. Estimated cost for doing this hands-on is no charge, as S3 bucket storage is free tier eligible. Prerequisite AWS skill level is beginner with general understanding of AWS S3. To set up a free tier eligible AWS account and a user with sufficient permissions, check out our video on Create Admin User. To begin, fire up a browser, preferably Google Chrome, and head to aws.amazon.com. Sign in to the AWS Management Console as a user with administrator credentials. Store and retrieve a file with Amazon S3. This step-by-step hands-on will help you store your files in the cloud using Amazon Simple Storage Service S3. Amazon S3 is a service that enables you to store your data referred to as objects in massive scale. In this tutorial, you will create an Amazon S3 bucket, upload a file, retrieve the file, and delete the file. This hands-on is doable within the AWS free tier. Enter the Amazon S3 console. And create an S3 bucket. In this step, you will create an Amazon S3 bucket. A bucket is the container you store your files in. If this is the first time you are creating a bucket, you will see a screen that looks like this. If you have already created S3 buckets, your S3 dashboard will list all the buckets you have created. In the S3 dashboard, click Create Bucket. Enter a bucket name. Bucket names must be unique across all existing bucket names in Amazon S3. There are a number of other restrictions on S3 bucket names as well. Then select a region to create your bucket in. The following rules apply for naming S3 buckets. Enter a unique bucket name like demo-bucket-your account ID or alias. From the region drop-down, select the AWS region closest to you for best performance. You could copy over the bucket settings from one of your existing buckets for standardization or efficiency, but not if this is your first bucket. Click on Next. You have many useful options for your S3 bucket, including versioning, server access logging, tags, object level logging, and default encryption. We won't enable them for this hands-on. Versioning is a means of keeping multiple variants of an object in the same bucket. You can use versioning to preserve, retrieve, and restore every version of every object stored in your Amazon S3 bucket. With versioning, you can easily recover from both unintended and user actions and application failures. When you enable versioning for a bucket, if Amazon S3 receives multiple write requests for the same object simultaneously, it stores all of the objects. If you enable versioning for a bucket, Amazon S3 automatically generates a unique version ID for the object being stored. In one bucket, for example, you can have two objects with the same key or file name, but different version IDs, such as photo.gif version 11111 and photo.gif version 22222. By default, Amazon S3 doesn't collect server access logs. When you enable logging, Amazon S3 delivers access logs for a source bucket to a target bucket that you choose. The target bucket must be in the same AWS region as the source bucket and must not have a default retention period configuration. Server access logging provides detailed records for the requests that are made to an S3 bucket. Server access logs are useful for many applications. For example, access in log information can be useful in security and access audits. It can also help you learn about your customer base and understand your Amazon S3 bill. The following basic restrictions apply to tags. Maximum number of tags per resource is 50. For each resource, each tag key must be unique, and each tag key can have only one value. Maximum key length is 128 Unicode characters in UTF-8. Maximum value length is 256 Unicode characters in UTF-8. Although EC2 allows for any character in its tags, other services are more restrictive. The allowed characters across services are letters, numbers, and spaces representable in UTF-8, and the following characters: plus, minus, equals, dot, underscore, colon, slash, and at. Tag keys and values are case sensitive. The AWS colon prefix is reserved for AWS use. If a tag has a tag key with this prefix, then you can't edit or delete the tag's key or value. Tags with the AWS colon prefix do not count against your tags per resource limit. By default, trails do not log data events. Additional charges apply for data events. The events that are logged by your Cloud Trails are available in Amazon CloudWatch events. For example, if you configure a Cloud Trail to log data events for S3 objects, but not management events, your trail processes and logs only data events for the specified S3 objects. The data events for these S3 objects are available in Amazon CloudWatch events. Amazon S3 default encryption provides a way to set the default encryption behavior for an S3 bucket. You can set default encryption on a bucket so that all new objects are encrypted when they are stored in the bucket. The objects are encrypted using server-side encryption with either Amazon S3 managed keys, that is SSE-S3, or customer master keys, CMKs, stored in AWS Key Management Service, AWS KMS. When you use server-side encryption, Amazon S3 encrypts an object before saving it to disk and decrypts it when you download the objects. Under Advanced Settings, you can use S3 Object Lock to store objects using a write once, read many worm model. It can help you prevent objects from being deleted or overwritten for a fixed amount of time or even indefinitely. You can use S3 Object Lock to meet regulatory requirements that require worm storage or add an extra layer of protection against object changes and object deletion. You've just seen that versioning is mandatory for object locking. Under Management, with Amazon CloudWatch request metrics for Amazon S3, you can receive 1-minute CloudWatch metrics, set CloudWatch alarms, and access CloudWatch dashboards to view near real-time operations and performance of your Amazon S3 storage. For applications that depend on cloud storage, these metrics let you quickly identify and act on operational issues when enabled. On this screen, just leave the defaults and click on Next. You have the ability to set permission settings for your S3 bucket. Each bucket has an associated access control policy. This policy governs the creation, deletion, and enumeration or listing of objects within the bucket. By default, all Amazon S3 resources like buckets, objects, and related sub-resources like lifecycle configuration and website configuration are private, meaning only the resource owner, an AWS account that created it, can access the resource. The resource owner can optionally grant access permissions to other accounts by writing an access policy. Amazon S3 offers access policy options broadly categorized as resource-based policies and user-based policies or user policies. Access policies you attach to your resources, like buckets and objects, are referred to as resource-based policies. For example, bucket policies and access control lists are resource-based policies. You can also attach access policies to users in your account. These are called user policies. You may choose to use resource-based policies or user policies or some combination of these to manage permissions to your Amazon S3 resources. In this page, leave the default values and select Next. Review your configuration settings and select Create Bucket. You just created Demo Bucket AWS By Doing. Use your account ID or alias so that your bucket name is unique. Upload a file. In this step, you will upload a file to your new Amazon S3 bucket. You will see your new bucket in the S3 console. Click on your bucket's name to navigate to the bucket. You are in your bucket's home page. Select Upload. To select a file to upload, either click Add Files and select a sample file that you would like to store, or drag and drop a file on the upload box. When you create an object, you specify the key name, which uniquely identifies the object in the bucket. For example, on the Amazon S3 console, when you highlight a bucket, a list of objects in your bucket appears. These names are the object keys or file names. The name for a key is a sequence of Unicode characters whose UTF-8 encoding is at most 1024 bytes long. The Amazon S3 data model is a flat structure. You create a bucket and the bucket stores objects. There is no hierarchy of sub-buckets or sub-folders. However, you can infer logical hierarchy using key name prefixes and delimiters, as the Amazon S3 console does. The Amazon S3 console supports a concept of folders. Select Next after you have selected a file to upload. You have the ability to set permission settings on your object. Buckets and objects are Amazon S3 resources. By default, the resource owner refers to the AWS account that creates the resource. For example, the AWS account that you use to create buckets and upload objects owns those resources. If you upload an object using AWS Identity and Access Management, that is IAM user, or role credentials, the AWS account that the user or role belongs to owns the object. A bucket owner can grant cross-account permissions to another AWS account or users in another account to upload objects. In this case, the AWS account that uploads objects owns those objects. The bucket owner does not have permissions on the objects that other accounts own, with the following caveat or exceptions. The bucket owner pays the bills. The bucket owner can deny access to any objects or delete any objects in his or her bucket, regardless of who owns them. The bucket owner can archive any object or restore archived objects regardless of who owns them. Archival refers to the storage class used to store the objects in cold storage or glacier. For this hands-on, leave the default values and select Next. You have the ability to set property settings like storage class, encryption, and metadata and tags with your object. S3 standard is the default storage class. If you don't specify the storage class when you upload an object, Amazon S3 assigns the S3 standard storage class. Reduced redundancy or RRS is the storage class designed for non-critical reproducible data that can be stored with less redundancy than the S3 standard storage class. We recommend that you do not use this storage class, as the S3 standard storage class is more cost effective. The S3 intelligent tiering storage class stores objects in two access tiers, one that is optimized for frequent access and another lower cost tier that is optimized for infrequently accessed data. For a small monthly monitoring and automation fee per object, Amazon S3 monitors access patterns of the objects in the S3 intelligent tiering storage class and moves objects that have not been accessed for 30 consecutive days to the infrequent access tier. There are no retrieval fees when using S3 Intelligent Tiering Storage class. If an object in the infrequent access tier is accessed, it is automatically moved back to the frequent access tier. No additional tiering fees apply when objects are moved between access tiers within the S3 Intelligent Tiering Storage class. The S3 Standard IA and the S3 One Zone IA storage classes are designed for long-lived and infrequently accessed data. IA stands for infrequent access. S3 Standard IA and S3 One Zone IA objects are available for millisecond access, same as the S3 Standard Storage class. Amazon S3 charges a retrieval fee for these objects, so they are most suitable for infrequently accessed data. S3 Standard IA stores the object data redundantly across multiple geographically separated availability zones, similar to the S3 Standard Storage class. S3 Standard IA objects are resilient to the loss of an availability zone. This storage class offers greater availability and resiliency than the S3 One Zone IA class. The S3 One Zone IA stores the object data in only one availability zone, which makes it less expensive than S3 Standard IA. However, the data is not resilient to the physical loss of the availability zone resulting from disasters such as earthquakes and floods. The S3 One Zone IA storage class is as durable as Standard IA, but it is less available and less resilient. The S3 Glacier is used for archives when portions of the data might need to be retrieved in minutes. Data stored in the S3 Glacier storage class has a minimum storage duration period of 90 days and can be accessed in as little as 1 to 5 minutes using expedited retrieval. If you have deleted, overwritten, or transitioned to a different storage class an object before the 90-day minimum, you are charged for 90 days. The S3 Glacier Deep Archive used for data archiving that rarely needs to be accessed. Data stored in the S3 Glacier Deep Archive storage class has a minimum storage duration period of 180 days and a default retrieval time of 12 hours. If you have deleted, overwritten, or transitioned to a different storage class an object before the 180-day minimum, you are charged for the 180 days. S3 Glacier Deep Archive is the lowest cost storage option in AWS. Storage costs for the S3 Glacier Deep Archive are less expensive than using the S3 Glacier storage class. You can reduce S3 Glacier Deep Archive retrieval costs by using bulk retrieval, which returns data within 48 hours. When you use server-side encryption with Amazon S3 managed keys, that is SSE S3, each object is encrypted with a unique key. As an additional safeguard, it encrypts the key itself with a master key that it regularly rotates. Amazon S3 server-side encryption uses one of the strongest block ciphers available, 256-bit Advanced Encryption Standard AES 256 to encrypt your data. Server-side encryption with customer master keys, CMKs, stored in AWS Key Management Service, that is the SSE KMS, is similar to SSE S3, but with some additional benefits and charges for those using this service. There are separate permissions for the use of a CMK that provides added protection against unauthorized access of your objects in Amazon S3. SSE KMS also provides you with an audit trail that shows when your CMK was used and by whom. Additionally, you can create and manage customer managed CMKs or use AWS managed CMKs that are unique to you, your service, and your region. There are two kinds of metadata, system metadata and user-defined metadata. For each object stored in a bucket, Amazon S3 maintains a set of system metadata. Amazon S3 processes this system metadata as needed. For example, Amazon S3 maintains object creation date and size metadata and uses this information as part of object management. When uploading an object, you can also assign metadata to the object. You provide this optional information as a name value, key value pair when you send a put or post request to create the object. When you upload objects using the REST API, the optional user-defined metadata names must begin with x-amz-meta- to distinguish this from other HTTP headers. User-defined metadata is a set of key value pairs. Amazon S3 stores user-defined metadata keys in lowercase. You can add tags to new objects when you upload them, or you can add them to existing objects. You can associate up to 10 tags with an object. Tags that are associated with an object must have unique tag keys. A tag key can be up to 128 Unicode characters in length, and tag values can be up to 256 Unicode characters in length. The key and value are case sensitive. In this page, leave the default values and select Next. Review your configurations and select Upload. You will see your object in your bucket's home screen. Retrieve the object. In this step, you will download the file from your Amazon S3 bucket. Select the checkbox next to the file you would like to download and then select Download. Check out the downloaded file. It is cleanup time. Let's delete the object and the bucket. You can easily delete your object and bucket from the Amazon S3 console. In fact, it is a best practice to delete resources you are no longer using so that you don't get charged for them. You will first delete your object. Select the checkbox next to the file you want to delete and select Delete from the Actions drop-down. Review and confirm the object you want to delete. Select Delete. And you have deleted your object. Click on Amazon S3 to view all your buckets. Click to the left of the bucket name of the bucket you created to select it. And then click Delete. Type the name of your bucket and click Confirm. You could even copy and paste the name of your bucket and click Confirm. You have deleted your bucket. Congratulations! You have backed up your first file to the cloud by creating an Amazon S3 bucket and uploading your file as an S3 object. Amazon S3 is designed for 11.9% durability to help ensure that your data is always available when you want it. You've also learned how to retrieve your backed up file and how to delete the file and bucket. Thanks for watching. Please give a thumbs up to this video to encourage us. Share this video with your friends and colleagues. Also, subscribe to this channel, AWS By Doing, and we will update you regularly with our latest and greatest offerings. Write in a comment of what you liked and how we can improve. Happy cloud computing. And we will see you again in the next episode from the AWS By Doing team.